What's up guys, and welcome to another comparison video. Today we are comparing base models of the BMW 3 Series from two prior generations. Right now we're in a 2011 E90 generation 328i M Sport with a 6-speed manual owned by my good friend Oleg, and we'll be comparing it to a 2013 F30 generation 328i, also with a manual. On the used market, to find a clean example like these two, you're talking anywhere from maybe $12,000 to $20,000 depending on mileage and condition. Now my friend Oleg did modify this E90 328i for track work, but it's mainly chassis tuning and a shorter final drive. I'll put the full list of mods in the video description. The main items to note here, we have the KW-V2 Street Comfort coilovers, 3.73 final drive, upgraded engine and transmission mounts, 18 by 9 inch Apex EC7 wheels, wrapped in very sticky Kumho V730 tires. So I want to see which generation of 328i is more fun to drive and which one you should spend $12,000 to $20,000 on. Now the E90 generation, in my opinion, was one of the last generations of 3 Series to have a truly timeless interior design with excellent build quality. I mean, this thing is free of squeaks and rattles. Everything looks pretty much mint in this particular example. We have hydraulic power steering, no drive modes to speak of here, just a simple traction control button, which obviously we will turn off, and we have an open diff on the rear axle. So let's see how this thing drives. We're powered by a 3-liter straight 6 engine, naturally aspirated. It makes 230 horsepower, 200 pound-feet of torque, and the car weighs around 3,400 pounds. Second gear. Gotta love that silky smooth straight 6 sound. The red line is right around 7,000 RPM, and this engine pulls so linearly to the top. It's not a particularly rev-happy engine, but it just gives you good response and usable power throughout the entire rev range. It's not high-strung, but it still rewards you for winding it out. Hydraulic steering rack. It's a little bit lighter than I would like, but you can actually feel a lot of what's going on the road surface through your fingertips. It's not a particularly fast car. Oh, I did forget to mention, Oleg installed some aftermarket headers on this car and actually had it dynoed with a 15 wheel horsepower increase. So 230 wheel horsepower. This car also feels like it has a very lightweight flywheel. The revs drop really quickly when you clutch in, which makes it actually pretty fun to drive. You can shift it very quickly. Classic BMW 6-speed manual feel, rubbery throws, not the most positive or mechanical engagement, but very easy to operate. This is actually a really fun car to drive around, and with these sticky Kumho tires, there's tons of grip, and with the square setup, the front end response is really quite good. No, this isn't an M3 in the way it drives or sounds or pulls or stops. Actually, the way it stops is pretty good. Another mod I forgot to mention is that Oleg put some BMW M Performance brakes on the front. Listen to this silky smooth straight 6. No vibrations from the engine transmitted into the cabin, because there are no vibrations with this engine. It is just so smooth, so linear, it's so refined. Driving this car around town, it feels like a true luxury vehicle despite being an entry-level 3 Series from over a decade ago. It is supremely comfortable and quiet. And that's also helped by these KW V2 Comfort coilovers. Really good street focused coilover setup. You can get the car nice and low, improve the look and the stance and the handling without sacrificing comfort. KW has always been a master of that. They've been the gold standard in that segment along with Öhlins for a while. This suspension matches the E90 chassis beautifully. I wish we were actually on some lower grip tires, because these V730 Kumhos, they're not really allowing us to play with that rear axle with only 230 wheel horsepower in a 3,400 pound car. Oleg mentioned that he actually clocked a 1 minute 29 second lap time at Thunderhill West with this exact setup and these tires, which is pretty damn impressive. This M Performance big brake kit feels really good. It gives me plenty of modulation in that brake pedal. Also loving this shorter final drive. Second gear, I'm pretty sure, doesn't even reach 60 miles an hour now. Oh yeah. Suspension handled that bump beautifully. This car is so surprisingly good to drive. That should come as no surprise, as Oleg has always been really good at making OEM plus types of builds for his various cars that I've reviewed in the past. This is a really good example of that. It enhances the overall driving experience without detracting from the comfort or daily drivability one bit. I mean, the only thing is that at freeway speeds in 6th gear, let's say at 80 miles an hour, you're spinning at, you know, well over 3,500 RPM. So if you care about fuel economy, maybe not the best move. But even at 3,500 RPM, this engine is so smooth that you still don't really notice it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sound. And the sound that it does make is, again, just super smooth. It's not distracting or drony whatsoever. So highlights of this E90 328i M Sport for me: the steering feel, the overall suspension compliance with these KW V2 coilovers, the sheer smoothness of this engine and how flexible it is at all parts of the rev range, and just how easy it is to drive this car hard. It's really such a forgiving platform. It has a relatively long wheelbase, and there's really not much to complain about at all. Is it a budget M3? No, not really. It needs way more power to be that, and it needs a rear limited slip differential, but in its current state, it is a really excellent all-rounder. You can have fun with it in the canyons. You can even set some decent lap times at the track, as Oleg demonstrated, and it's a fantastically comfortable and refined daily driver. But now let's hop into the F30 generation, just 2 years newer, 2013 versus this one being a 2011, and see how the move to that turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, electric power steering, and other changes that BMW made, let's see how those impact the overall driving feel. All right, we're now in Wuzzy's 2013 F30 generation BMW 328i with a 6-speed manual transmission. First impressions with this car, even though this has only 89,000 miles, whereas Oleg's 328 had 109,000 miles, this interior doesn't feel as well built. There's more squeaks and rattles. Some of the leather on the steering wheel and other surfaces like the shift knob and handbrake starting to wear out a little bit quicker. Rattles coming from the door panels. Yes, it is a more modern interior. It has much better tech. We have an actual touchscreen, iDrive system, but other than that, I would say this interior is a slight downgrade. One thing that is a big upgrade though is this seat. I can get the seat way lower than I could in the E90, and with it as low as it'll go, this is actually a really proper sporty seating position where I feel like I'm in the car rather than sitting on top of it. Really like that. So we're powered by a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine, a pretty massive departure from the naturally aspirated and turbocharged straight 6 engines of old. Of course, if you opt for the 335i of this generation, you still get a turbocharged straight 6, but this base model 328i, you get the 4-banger. It makes 240 horsepower and 255 pound-feet of torque, so the peak power number is actually very similar to that old 328, but we get gobs more torque thanks to the turbocharging. This car also weighs around 3,400 pounds, so no discernible difference in weight from one generation to the next. It's still rear-wheel drive, of course, and it still has an open differential. So let's see how all of these generational changes feel. In terms of mods, Wazzy has done a couple of key mods to it. KW V1 coilovers instead of the V2s on Oleg's car. We have F30 M3 front lower control arms, and we just have a simple axle back exhaust with resonator delete. We're running an oddly staggered setup with 235 front, 275 rear Michelin PS4S tires. Power output feels very similar to that old car. Ooh, creaks and rattles from the suspension going over bumps. Feels about the same, honestly, in a straight line. The engine isn't as smooth, being an inline 4 rather than an NA inline 6, but it's still very linear. Really good mid-range torque, decent throttle response. This car feels like it has a heavier flywheel, or maybe that's a little bit of throttle tuning that is resulting in a slight delay every time I clutch in. The revs don't drop nearly as immediately. But keep in mind, we're also on a stock final drive here, so the gearing is much longer. But even taking that out of the equation, straight line performance about the same, much less steering feel with this EPS rack. Kind of what I expected, but unfortunately, yeah, there's just no replacement for a proper hydraulic steering rack. This one has a pretty nice quick steering ratio, but just not the level of feedback that I want. Little bit of turbo lag down low. Still not enough power, even with these lower grip PS4S tires, to really get the back end to step out on throttle in some of these corners. But it's still a very natural car to drive hard. It actually feels really well balanced, as did the 328i. But I do want to know what the cause of this sound is every single time I go over a bump. It's coming from that front end, I think. Now, in terms of suspension, this KW V1 setup is still pretty street friendly, but it doesn't feel as sophisticated as that V2. I don't know if that's just a inherent difference between V1 versus V2, or if it's because of these platforms and their inherent differences. But either way, what I'm feeling is slightly sloppier body control in the corners and slightly worse compliance over bumps. It's still good, just not as good as an E90 with KW V2s. Getting some understeer here. Only a 235 front tire. I think this car would benefit from a 255 square setup. Oh wow. That crashiness from the suspension, that definitely should be looked at. Now, I know this F30 isn't as modified as Oleg's E90, but even some of the inherent differences I'm feeling, regardless of the mods, the cheaper quality interior, the lack of steering feel, shifter feels about the same. If anything, it's a little bit lighter and easier to use. The E90, you kind of felt like there were a couple of small sticking points or notches as you shifted from one gear to the next. That's mostly gone with this one, but it's still pretty rubbery. But overall, as I do this straight line pull. This car feels like a slight downgrade in terms of driving enjoyment. It feels a little bit more numb to drive, a little bit more digital, and it has lost the character of that silky smooth straight six engine, the talkative hydraulic steering, but it still retains the really good balance of every 3 Series generation that I've driven. No doubt the efficiency gains, the miles per gallon increase you get with this turbocharged engine versus the old straight six is substantial. I think you'd have no problem getting over 30 miles per gallon if you drive this car conservatively. But from behind the wheel in the canyons, it's just not as well sorted. Part of that, I do admit, is due to the difference in the mods. But at the end of the day, I think the F30 generation is still a great driving car, and it's a great driving BMW. It's just some of those aspects that is certainly not specific to BMW as cars get newer and we lose some of that old school analog feel. I mean, all manufacturers are guilty of this, but you definitely feel that with the F30. Now, if you're talking E90 versus F30, same condition, same mileage, for the same price, which they more or less are in today's market, I would say the F30 you can make a case for as the better daily driver because of the efficiency gains and the much newer tech. But the E90 still just holds a special place in my heart because it's just that little bit more raw and driver focused, more of that ultimate driving machine ethos. So a big thank you to Wazi and to Oleg for letting me include their 328i models in this comparison video. Let me know how you think these two generations compare. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.